AITAH for immediately flirting with a guy after a breakup. I never thought I'd be the type of person to move on quickly, at least not in the way people whisper about. You know, the type of rebound stories that make others roll their eyes and mutter wow, couldn't even wait a week. But here I am, sitting in my best friend's kitchen, the bitter taste of wine still clinging to my tongue, replaying last night over and over. I can still hear the echo of my ex's voice when he ended things, and the sting of his words hasn't even faded. I don't think I love you the same way anymore, Sophie. Just like that, 6 years of love, loyalty, and compromise fell apart in the span of 10 minutes. And yet, only a few hours later, I found myself leaning across a bar counter, smiling at a stranger. His name was Adrian. Tall, sharp eyes, the kind of smile that feels like both a question and an invitation. When he asked if the seat next to me was taken, I didn't hesitate to shake my head. I could feel the ache in my chest, grief, anger, humiliation, but beneath it was something else, defiance. It was reckless, yes, but as I laughed at Adrian's jokes, letting my fingertips graze the rim of my glass, I felt alive again. Like I wasn't just the girl who had been discarded after years of giving my everything. Like I could be someone new, someone dangerous, someone desired. The guilt came later, of course. My best friend, Rachel, called me out the second I told her. "Sophie, are you serious? You just broke up with Matt. Don't you think this is too soon? You're not giving yourself time to breathe." But here is the thing: Matt had already checked out months before he ended it. Had been pulling away, prioritizing late nights at work, canceling plans, and giving me excuses so thin they barely held together. I'd been loyal, patient, waiting for him to come back to me. He never did. So why should I sit in silence, mourning a man who had already betrayed my trust by leaving emotionally long before he left physically? Still, I can't shake the feeling that maybe I'm doing something wrong. Last night, Adrian kissed me outside the bar. It wasn't just a kiss, it was fire. Raw and urgent, the kind that makes your knees weak. I didn't stop him. For a moment, I didn't even remember Matt's face. But then, as I lay awake in bed later, staring at the ceiling, the doubts crept in. Was I using Adrian just to mask the pain? Was I dishonoring the years I spent with Matt by moving on so quickly? Was I betraying myself by diving into something so recklessly without healing first? This morning, I checked my phone and saw a message from Adrian. "Had a great time last night. Can I see you again?" My heart raced, but not from excitement, more like fear. Fear of what people will say. Fear of being labeled the girl who couldn't stand being alone for even a day. Fear that I'm chasing validation instead of real love. So now I'm left wondering, am I the asshole for immediately flirting with someone after my breakup? For not letting myself grieve in the way people expect me to? Or am I just trying to take back a piece of control after months of feeling invisible in my own relationship? Continuation. At first, meeting Adrian felt like a blessing. He was attentive, charming, and so different from Matt. Where Matt used to withdraw into silence, Adrian leaned in closer. He wanted to know everything: what I like to eat, the books I read, the little quirks about my childhood that I hadn't even thought about in years. He laughed at my sarcasm, admired my confidence, and never seemed to get tired of me. We started seeing each other every few days. What began as casual drinks turned into long walks, whispered secrets, and late-night phone calls that stretched until dawn. With him, the wound Matt left didn't feel so raw. I started to believe that maybe this wasn't just a rebound, that maybe the universe had thrown Adrian into my life as some kind of twisted gift. But there were cracks, ones I ignored at first. One night, I noticed how Adrian avoided talking about his past. He brushed off questions about his family or his old relationships, always with a smile that was just a little too quick. Another time, he slipped and mentioned a place he'd been to with friends, but when I asked more, his story shifted. I told myself not to pry. After all, hadn't Matt's withdrawal taught me to stop pushing people too hard? So I stayed quiet, content with the attention and affection. Until Rachel called me one morning. Her voice was sharp, almost panicked. "Sophie, I saw Adrian last night." I laughed, confused. "Okay, you mean at the bar?" "No, with someone else." He was holding her hand. My stomach dropped. I wanted to argue, to defend him, but Rachel sent me a picture she'd snapped on her phone. It was Adrian, unmistakable in his leather jacket, walking down the street with a brunette. His arm was wrapped around her waist. They looked intimate. When I confronted him, Adrian didn't deny it. He sighed, rubbed the back of his neck, and said, "Sophie, it's complicated. She's my ex. We're trying to figure things out." My world tilted. "Figure things out?" I hissed. "While you're kissing me outside bars and spending nights in my apartment." "I didn't mean for it to go this far," he admitted. "But you made me feel something again?" It should have ended there. That should have been enough for me to block his number and close the door. But I didn't. The betrayal stung, yes, but so did the thought of losing the one person who made me feel alive after Matt. So I stayed. Weeks passed, and Adrian's excuses piled up. Nights he didn't answer his phone. Dates canceled last minute. Each time had returned with flowers, with soft apologies, with a touch that made me forget. I kept telling myself that this was just temporary, that eventually he'd choose me. But betrayal doesn't stop at one layer. One evening, I came home from work to find Matt sitting on the steps of my apartment building. His eyes were bloodshot, his expression tense. "We need to talk," he said. Reluctantly, I let him in. "I know about Adrian," Matt confessed, his voice low. "You think I don't hear things? Hayes my co-worker's cousin? Word gets around." I froze. The room seemed to shrink around me. "What?" "Yeah," Matt continued, bitterness lacing his tone. "And guess what? Hayes been bragging about you, about how easy it was, about how fast you fell." My stomach twisted violently. Images of every kiss, every whisper, every promise Adrian made flashed before me, now coated in poison. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, voice trembling. "Because I don't want to see you hurt even more," Matt said. "I know I screwed up with us, but you don't deserve this." For the first time since our breakup, I saw sincerity in his eyes. Pain, yes, but also regret. That night, I confronted Adrian one last time. He tried to laugh it off at first, but when I mentioned Matt's name, his expression changed. "Look, Sophie," he muttered. "I didn't think you'd find out like this." "Yeah," I bragged a little. "But I meant what I said. I do like you." "Like me?" I snapped. "You used me? You paraded me around as some trophy while keeping your ex in the shadows." His silence was my answer. Walking away was harder than I expected. Betrayal cuts deeper when it follows so closely after another. I felt like a fool first for clinging to Matt when he was already gone, and then for letting Adrian convince me I was special when I was nothing but a game to him. But here's the strangest part. As the weeks passed, I started to feel stronger. Betrayal, as devastating as it was, forced me to stop looking for validation in men who never intended to love me fully. Maybe I was the asshole for flirting so soon after my breakup. Maybe I acted out of spite or pain or desperation. But in the end, I realized the true betrayal wasn't that I moved on quickly, it was that I kept giving pieces of myself to men who didn't deserve them. And now, for the first time in years, am learning what it means to be alone.